This is World Report. Good morning. I'm Marcia Young. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is unveiling the details of his party's platform.
After the lost Liberal decade, everything costs more. Seniors are choosing between heating and eating. Young people have given up on ever owning a home for the first time in the history of our country.
Over the past 3 weeks, Poilievre has promised an array of tax cuts, and he says the platform released today has been fully costed. Karina Roman is in Ottawa with more details. And Karina, how are the Conservatives going to pay for all these tax cuts?
Poilievre says he's going to cut unnecessary spending.
It is a plan that will lower taxes and debt by getting rid of bureaucracy, consulting fees, waste, and excessive foreign aid to dictators, terrorists, and global bureaucracy.
But it would seem the Conservatives are also counting on revenues from economic growth. Let me explain. In the revenue column of their platform, they list all the tax cuts and measures that will actually cost money. But because they predict those things will spur economic growth and therefore government revenue, they have booked, as they say, those measures as revenue generators. So here's some examples. They say there's going to be revenue from building additional homes, repealing Bill C-69, eliminating clean electricity regulations, scrapping the capital gains tax changes. Now, in the Conservatives' previous platform in 2021, they specifically did not do this. They predicted economic growth, but not counting the possible revenues from that economic growth because they were trying to be prudent. And I should also point out the Liberal platform on Saturday did not count possible increased revenues due to economic growth. Now, even with this unique accounting method, the Conservatives project deficits for the next 4 years, smaller deficits than the Liberals, and also declining deficits like the Liberals.
Thank you, Karina.
You're welcome.
Karina Roman, reporting from Ottawa. As for the other party leaders, Liberal leader Mark Carney will make an announcement in Quebec today. Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet is speaking about Earth Day, and NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is starting his day in British Columbia. He will hold a rally in Edmonton tonight. Cardinals from around the world are arriving at the Vatican, and reporters are tracking them, looking for information. The coming days and weeks will be a flurry of activity. The Catholic Church is preparing to lay its former leader to rest. Then it begins an ancient process of convening a conclave to select the next pope. For more, I'm joined by Megan Williams at the Vatican. And Megan, there are new details about the next steps in the Pope's funeral. What have we learned?
Well, we've learned when the funeral is going to be, which is Saturday morning at 10 o'clock Rome time. It will be presided over Cardinal Giambattista Re. Right now, the cardinals are meeting to discuss other details, probably figure out when the conclave is going to be. That hasn't been announced. But starting the day of the funeral on Saturday, that is a period of 9 days of mourning. So the conclave won't be before then. On Wednesday, the Vatican has said they will bring the Pope's body in the coffin. They've released pictures of that now to St. Peter's Basilica. Right now, the Pope's body is in his Santa Marta guest house. So on Wednesday, people will start lining up to be able to view the Pope in his coffin inside St. Peter's Basilica.
You are at the Vatican again today. What's the mood like there?
There's lots and lots of people streaming down the main avenue towards the St. Peter's Square, St. Peter's Basilica. It's very crowded here. Lots of sadness, of course. Many, many pilgrims have come from all over the world. This is the Holy Jubilee year for the Catholic Church, which happens every 25 years. So there were already a lot of people coming in, and I think a lot of disappointed people who were hoping to capture a glimpse of the Pope. But still, I think there's anticipation to the funeral. Certainly here at the Vatican, there's a lot of buzz. There's a lot to deal with in the coming days.
Thank you, Megan.
Thanks, Marcia.
Megan Williams reporting from the Vatican. Catholic churches around the world are holding Mass to remember Pope Francis. Hundreds of people gathered in Manila for a requiem mass. The Philippines is considered one of the world's largest Catholic strongholds. More than 80 million Catholics live there. These worshippers reflect on their memories of Pope Francis.
I cried a lot because I last saw him last Palm Sunday in St. Peter's Square. So I was fortunate enough to see him to bless us.
The holiness of Pope Francis exudes from his personality.
One of the people said to be in line to succeed Pope Francis is Filipino Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle. The 67-year-old has often been referred to as the Asian Francis. Pope Francis's legacy is a complex one for many, including members of Indigenous communities. On a visit to Canada nearly 3 years ago, the Pope apologized for the harms done in residential schools. The Pope called it a genocide. As Sam Sampson tells us, many hope his successor will continue his work of reconciliation.
I think he appreciate to hear what the stories are of the people of this land.
Chief Tony Alexis of Alexis Nakota Sioux Nation stands on the edge of Lac St. Anne, exactly where Pope Francis blessed the water during his 2022 visit, part of a historic change between the Catholic Church and Indigenous communities.
That I am deeply sorry.
While in Alberta, Pope Francis made the Church's first apology on Canadian soil for the abuse Indigenous people suffered in Catholic-run residential schools.
He didn't come here to stand above us. He came to stand with us.
Later, Pope Francis declared what happened in residential schools was a genocide, and he rejected the doctrine of discovery, a religious document that gives Christian explorers claim to land.
No apology will be able to rectify the harms that were felt by residential school survivors.
Anishinaabe author and University of Manitoba professor Nigon Sinclair says the Catholic Church needs to build on this momentum and do more, like release residential school records.
My hope is that the Catholic Church picks up the work of the progressive Pope and doesn't forget that what brought you to this point of finally Indigenous peoples are beginning to rebuild trust with you.
A call to action for whoever takes Pope Francis's place. Sam Sampson, CBC News, Lac St. Anne, Alberta.
Jury selection begins today in the sexual assault trial of 5 hockey players. They are former members of Canada's World Junior Hockey Team. Each of the players is charged in connection with an alleged assault that took place in June 2018. The team was in London, Ontario for a Hockey Canada Gala celebrating their gold medal win at the year's World's Juniors. All 5 hockey players are expected to plead not guilty. Workers who were laid off by a former Better Business Bureau are now suing. The Ottawa-based organization was part of an international network, but last year it was kicked out, and its employees were let go without severance. The CBC's Arthur White-Crummey has their story.
Cassandra Fowler was laid off last year.
I'm still kind of coming back from that financially because it's a huge hit for me.
She should have received severance and back vacation pay. She figures it was worth about $10,000.
I could have really dug myself out of a financial hole that put me in had I received it.
But she says she never got a penny because of a rift between a Canadian Better Business Bureau and its headquarters south of the border. The Better Business Bureau of Canada's Northern Capital Regions and Quebec operated in 3 provinces, Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta. Last year, the U.S.-based International Association of BBBs expelled it, saying the chapter wasn't meeting financial management standards. That meant it couldn't call itself a Better Business Bureau. It renamed itself Nearby and tried to keep going. Celia Lyons was assistant sales manager. She says member businesses saw no reason to stay on.
People were yelling at us on the phone and hanging up on us. It was crazy.
It lasted 3 months. Then Lyons, too, was out of a job without the severance and vacation pay her contract entitled her to.
We're all desperately trying to survive. I know a lot of people haven't found jobs yet, and people that have found jobs are working for like minimum wage, just trying to pay their bills.
Fowler and Lyons haven't pursued legal action, but 2 other employees have. In a lawsuit, they say they're owed more than $250,000. In a statement, the company says the board of directors has always been committed to sound governance, including strong financial oversight. The allegations haven't been proven in court. Arthur White-Crummey, CBC News, Ottawa.
And that is the latest national and international news from World Report. News anytime, cbcnews.ca. I'm Marcia Young.